This is the Wild Things Show, Wild Game with Rich McNutt. But you won't believe how great you can make your wild game taste, and that's the reason we're here today. I'm with Starla Basco from Starla Seasonings, and she got a turkey a couple days ago, and she's been marinating it in buttermilk, but I'll let her tell you about that. She's going to use this device here that kind of looks like a crock pot, but gets the job done in 45 minutes to an hour instead of 6 or 8 hours. So it'll be interesting to see how this is going to work. One of the things I've noticed with a bunch of my friends is that we only have 1 or 2 recipes that we can cook with. And it's really amazing how many recipes that are out there that are just really great. My problem was that I couldn't read a recipe and understand what it took to make it. You know, I can read a blueprint and build you a house, but give me a recipe and I'm lost. So I really need to be shown how to cook. And that's one of the reasons that we have this cook show out today.
It is fantastic when people can actually have a visual how-to instead of just the written word. So you miss a lot of steps when you're reading directions, and you see more of the procedure and the timing when you have a video.
Well, you know, the first time I was looking at a recipe, it said to simmer this meat for about 20 minutes, so I had to go to the store and find a simmer. I just couldn't. It took me a long time. I couldn't find a simmer.
Yep. Some recipes are vague too, but you can get a lot by watching them.
Okay, we're going to let Starla go ahead here and show us how she's doing. What do we call this now? This
is a garlic Alfredo wild turkey.
And this is the bird that you got a couple days ago.
This is the bird I just got. Yeah, so I mean you can't get any fresher than
What
this.
What else have you taken besides just turkey?
Well, I've had a couple turkeys and some deer, and I went bear hunting, and a wild pig. So that we'll be doing in upcoming recipes. So watch for our wild boar recipes.
Wild boar is good. I've taken quite a few wild boar. It's really good meat. I really like it.
Well, that's another one. It depends how you prepare it, and we'll be showing you how.
Well, a lot of it, when you take a wild animal, most of your flavor in your meat is determined by what you do in the field. It's not what happens here at the stove. It's what you did in the field. If the animal has adrenaline in it, that'll cause most of your wild taste. So tree stand hunters generally have animals that are much better tasting than drivers do, because drivers, you know, they could have been chased here and then chased over here and then finally shot over here. And I found that out with antelope. I mean, antelope, when they turn on the adrenaline, I mean, in 3 steps they can be doing 60 miles an hour. And that animal, when we cooked it, was wow. It was really wild. But there's a lot of things we can do to take that wild taste out. There's parboiling, apple cider vinegar, and I cover those things in the book Hunter's Choices. And Hunter's Choices is not a book just about hunting. It's about all the aspects of hunting. Taking the kids in the woods, survival, search and rescue, all these things I did as a hunting guide, and they were part of the hunting experience.
Well, you talk a lot about getting the wild game taste out of an animal too in your book.
Yeah, and the biggest thing was what some people don't like to do, but it's soaking the meat. Because if you soak the blood out of the meat, you're going to soak the adrenaline out of the meat.
Now, you had a tip in your book about there was a ratio of soaking time versus hanging time, and that you can learn all that in your audio, or you actually still have a printed book?
I still have a few paperback copies left. They're pretty rare, but it's mostly on audio now. So, and you can download that from the website, or you can, you know, buy the CD.
I love listening to in my car. I can listen to it over and over again and catch the tips that I missed the first time. So.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to let Starla cook away here and show us what we're going to do, and this is something you can do easy yourself at home.
You Rich?
Okay.
Today we're doing Grandma's Garden broccoli and cauliflower mix. The first thing we do is we take a saucepan and put about 1 inch of water in it. Then I have my clean broccoli and cauliflower all cut up. Just add it into your pot. And then we're going to place it on the stove and cook them till they're nice and tender. And now we're going to finish up our Grandma's Garden broccoli and cauliflower mix. So it's been cooking on the stove. So we'll drain the water off of it. So our vegetables are all beautiful green and tender. So here we have 4 tablespoons of butter. And then we have my Grandma's Garden mix. So we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of that to our mix. We're going to give it a little stir. And this one you could use a lot of my other seasonings with too. We'll pour it over the top. And give it a little toss. And they're all set to go. And it makes a beautiful, flavorful presentation. So that's our Grandma's Garden cauliflower and broccoli mix with our fettuccine garlic alfredo on wild turkey. I'm Starla Basco with the Wild Things Show, Cooking Wild Game with Richard McNutt.
It's just amazing what that little machine can do. So how long have you been using them? It's just
Probably about 3 years. It just does a fast job at creating something that normally would take a lot of time. It's the perfect companion to any working couple, or take it along to the deer camp with you when you come in, plug it in, turn it on, and you can have a warm meal in 30 minutes to 45 minutes instead of waiting forever.
Well, Starla, I'm kind of amazed because I've always done crock pot cooking where it takes 8 to 10 hours, and literally this was 30-35 minutes. We had an excellent wild turkey, which is rare to beat, with a few veggies, and it just turned out wonderful.
Yeah, in a half an hour you can have a full meal. And what's nice is with the wild turkey, sometimes they are a little bit tougher, especially if they're an older bird. And the power cooker helps to make them nice and tender.
So this was really great. Thanks for coming, and thanks for showing us this recipe. Try this. Now you get a hold of one of these things if you can and give it a shot, or do the recipe in a slow cooker. Don't let the meat go bad in the freezer. You cook it. And if you don't like it, that's what frozen pizzas are for.
Thank you, Rich. Thanks for having me on the Wild Things Show, Cooking Wild Game.
You won't believe how great you can make wild game taste. Become a wild game cooking master by watching our professional chefs show us how to prepare outstanding wild game meals, desserts, and side dishes. Thanks for watching the Wild Things Show, Cooking Wild Game. This is Rich McNutt. Enjoy.